Hey everyone, my name's Christoph, and today I'm going to tell you how incorporating a fleet of cargo e-bikes in my small business reduced the number of car trips we took by 80% and slashed our operating costs while upping the happiness and quality of life for our employees. Come along for the ride.
Biking slow mo. Maybe the four will excite and smooth. I'm cold when the temperatures dip below 70. How can I be bird around LA coast? The diamonds is plural.
Uptop Acres is an urban agricultural landscaping and real estate services company. We design, build, and maintain edible fruit and vegetable gardens on the roofs of commercial office and residential buildings. We distribute the produce within the building communities and also donate a large amount of the produce to local area nonprofits. On any given day, we have a team of 5 farmers that are going from roof to roof. As we've scaled up, we have consistently run into problems with how we get around. The first of those problems was traffic. I don't think I need to explain to anyone watching this that there is terrible traffic in our downtown urban cores, and we were getting slowed down every single day. The second problem is parking. Parking is incredibly hard to come by in our downtown urban cores, and it is also incredibly expensive if you can find it. Street parking, garage parking. We were using whatever we could find first. We would find ourselves circling the block for 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes to find street parking. And if there was a garage available, we would go down in the garage, and the cost of those garages is upwards of $12 an hour. So if you think that we are parked for 5 hours in a given day at $12 an hour, we're now at $60 per person times 5. We're spending $300 a day on parking for our company, and that adds up quickly. Third problem is the astronomical cost of purchasing and maintaining a vehicle, an automobile. And if we were to have 5+ individual automobiles for our employees, we would be spending way more than we want to. The fourth problem is the problem of logistics, of how do we move our materials and our produce in these buildings. We often are hauling 200, 300, 400 pounds of materials through these buildings, and if we're bringing it in a truck or a van, we are having to pull into the loading dock, unload it, take the car, find parking, come back, bring everything up on a cart, unload that cart, do our work, load the car back up, loading dock, bring the car back, load it up, and go. And we just knew that that was also really inefficient. And the last problem was employee well-being. We know that the more time you spend in a car, sitting in traffic, the worse it is for your mental well-being and also your physical well-being. So we wanted to really promote workplace well-being in our transit just the same way we do when people are working up and gardening on the roofs. All of this has been pointing us over the years to the solution of the electric bicycle. We started with 1, and then we moved to 2, and then we moved to 3, and now we have a full fleet of cargo electric bicycles, and they have solved all of these problems. Cargo e-bikes and trailers offered us solutions to all of those problems immediately. We could zoom through traffic. There is great bike infrastructure here in the city, and we are able to reliably get around in an expected amount of time, and that is amazing. Parking, we pull right up to the loading dock. If the loading dock's full, it doesn't matter. There's space for our commercial e-bikes to fit, and we are able to leave them there. That cuts out our need to search for parking and pay for parking entirely. It's now free, and we spend 0 time looking for it. Third, the cost of owning a vehicle is gone. Instead, we're able to purchase these e-bikes, which are way less expensive than a vehicle, are way less expensive to maintain. The fourth problem of moving things through buildings was also solved with the incorporation of these trailers. We have selected certain trailers for certain kinds of work. Our smaller trailers can be loaded up and detached from the bike and used as a cart to move through the building. It cuts out a lot of time for us. Moving the trailer doubles as the cart. And the fifth is employee well-being. Biking is incredibly healthy for you mentally and physically, and we are doing a lot of it. So those are some of the ways that adopting a fleet of cargo electric bikes has helped our small business. And there are lots of other uses for them out there. First off, which is the most obvious and the most widely used, is last mile delivery. These are food deliveries through DoorDash or Uber Eats. You have UPS, FedEx starting to take advantage of electric cargo vehicles. You also have startup companies such as Urban Stems, which does flower deliveries, or The Rounds, which does waste-free home essentials. In addition to those, you also have catering companies taking advantage of the e-bike revolution. You have building trades, electricians, handymen, general contractors who don't need a whole truck to do a job, but still have to navigate around a dense urban core. And you have other landscaping companies similar to ours. You have trailers that can carry mowers and trimmers and all of the essentials that you need to take care of that. So if you're curious about incorporating an electric cargo bike into your business operations, there are a few things that you want to consider. First is the type of bike that you want. There are a whole lot of different price points, a lot of different quality of builds, and I would recommend starting at something entry level. The first bike that we ever acquired was a Radwagon 3. That is on the lower end of the spectrum, but it's a solid bike and we still use it today. We've moved up to newer models of the Radwagons. We also use electric cargos, and we also have recently, with the help of a grant from DOEE and the Chesapeake Bay Trust, have acquired a Turn GSD, which is on the higher end of the price spectrum and is a really quality build. The same thing goes for types of trailers. You can start out at $100 price point with a small trailer like an Assam that will carry about 80 pounds, and you can make your way up through Surly trailers, Wike trailers. We also use a Bikes at Work long trailer, which has been awesome, and then going all the way up to a Carla cart, which is a really solid, well-made, but much more expensive cart. And I will be linking in the description guides on how to buy electric cargo bikes, as well as guides on how to buy trailers. As we see the rise of cargo electric bicycles for commercial use start to grow in our urban cores, municipalities need to be on top of designing infrastructure for the future. Right now, the bike lane infrastructure, the bike parking infrastructure that municipalities are installing are very oftentimes 5 to 10-year-old designs that don't take into account any of this growth for commercial purposes. Oftentimes, the bike lane infrastructure is barely wide enough to fit the cart that I'm using. And in the future, they are going to be larger. And if they can't fit in the protected bicycle infrastructure, they're going to be in the street and they're going to be in conflict with motorists. And that is going to present a problem. On the parking side of things, the amount of public parking for bicycles is woefully inadequate to support the cargo electric bike boom that is going to happen. We need larger parking spaces that aren't on sidewalks, that put these large rigs at odds with pedestrians. They should be on the street, and they should have parking spots taken away from cars and given to these kinds of transportation. For parking garages, it's the same thing. We need to be designing our loading docks and our private commercial parking garages with this kind of transportation infrastructure in mind. So we need to convert parking spaces. We need to dedicate areas for micromobility, pickup, and delivery in these garages. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to the DC Department of Energy and the Environment and the Urban Agriculture Office, as well as the Chesapeake Bay Trust for their generous grant that made possible the purchase of our cargo e-bike and bike trailer that is featured heavily in this video.